Good morning. I picked the asparagus to eat, but then the dogs wanted it so bad, I gave it to them instead, because they really love it. So we have Cancer. The sun in Cancer right now, and moon is in Aries, square the sun. That's when you look in the sky and it's only half a moon. That's the moon square sun time. So you will maybe notice, if you're paying attention, the people born around then and the weather around then is similar to a peak like the new moon or the full moon. To have this half sharp moon up there. But the moon's leaving that now. It's going to shrink down because we're going into the waning crescent soon. But that is the red line from the moon to the sun that you see there. The moon is square the sun right now. And then in the background, for today, for the rest of today, we have the moon trine Venus and Mars. That's an excellent time to start anything. It's moon in Aries, the first moon sign, and then in harmony with our masculine and our feminine, who are close together right now in Leo. So we have this fiery, spirited, adventure-seeking trine going on there for today. So anything that you're starting today has excellent potential. Shout out to my friend Owen, who is going to visit the nuns. And as he's going to visit those nuns, Venus is 25 Leo, right on his moon. And the moon has just crossed his Venus, and it's in his 4th house. So he's going to be cared for by women. It's kind of crazy, right? I mean, right when he came back to us in the chat was the very first day that Venus started her shadow. To go slower, right? Because Venus right now is still slowing down. She's real slow right now before she goes retrograde. So he showed up again right on that day that Venus started. And she's slow, she goes, and then hit his moon in her. She's going really slow. So maybe, I could say that is like slowing us down to look really at what we love in life and what we want to accomplish and how we're treating ourselves, how we're nurturing ourselves, and how we're loving ourselves, and if we're loving ourselves, and how we can love other people if, based on how we love ourselves. All these sort of loving feeling things coming up right now. And trine today. So really, I think some people are going to have some beautiful moments today in that trine. And more in the background noise is Venus square Uranus. So that was fun, and I'm sure a lot of people realize, that they met some strange people and found some strange things that they might have really loved. It might have stuck out to them. When Venus is in aspect with Uranus, it is shocking, weird types of things that come up to do with your love life and things you value and things you treasure and things you want to be around. I do notice when people have that aspect in their natal, an aspect with Venus and Uranus, that they are odd. They love odd things. They have this sort of Uranian way about them. And they might have done some things in their lives that just makes them look like weirdos to the mainstream. Eric Dubé is a good example, actually. Eric Dubé has Venus square Uranus. It could give us very unique self-value systems that other people who are just engrossed in the mainstream and don't look very far won't understand. Uranus is something that a lot of people don't understand, and you'll still hear astrologers talking about that because it's so shocking that it's like, oh, I didn't think of that before. Holy crap. This thing comes into your head, this thought you've never had before, this idea. So people who have Uranus strong in their chart, not just with Venus, but like any aspect or on an angle in their chart, they'll also be those types of people. Kelly Lee Phipps called it text messages from God. And speaking from experience, I have Uranus right on my MC and it's trine my Mercury. This is me since childhood even. I remember sometimes they would ask a question in class and then I would instantly respond without putting up my hand or anything. An answer would just come pouring out of my mouth. And it was right, and I would always get in trouble for that because, first of all, I shocked the teachers a lot with what I would do like that. With math and stuff, because I don't even know math. I'm terrible at math. Even elementary school level math right now, I suck at. But that's how I think of it, and that's how to explain how Uranus works. It's just shocking. What? How did you know that? How did you get that information? How did you get that idea? So more on the background, other than Cancer Sun and Aries Moon, which we have today, we have Mars in conjunct Pluto. So that's a kind of messed one because they, when those two get together, it can be about ultimate power and control of the drive and of others and just of every situation. Ultimate power and control. So depending on where this is in your chart, 29 Leo, you might notice that it's some sort of power struggle somewhere in your life right now, depending on where you have that 29 Leo. Like say if your IC was 29 Leo, then Mars is right there at home and it's causing this Martian energy, this Marsy buzzing, let's go right now. So yeah, so then you'll have with Pluto, probing to the deepest, like, I know why you're Marsy. It's because of this when you were a child, and I can pinpoint your whole life, and I know exactly what you're like, sort of arguments for this total domination, power, control sort of vibe. But those things can also be helpful. If you can confront somebody on exactly, you know them really well, and you know exactly what they're doing that's hurting other people and hurting themselves, you can point right at it and ring bells in their face about it. It might not go over well in the moment, but eventually those sort of things, when they happen to people who are doing shitty things with their life and hurting other people, eventually they will remember you. So they might scream and yell about you and call you lots of names, and they might even lie about you, and they might say things that other people know aren't true, just to try to make you look like the bad guy when really you were just pointing at what they do and anyone could see it. Those sort of things are in the weather right now with Mars and Pluto. And it just reminds me of, Bible stuff. So many things will remind me of these verses that my dad was always telling me. But you really will be able to tell what people are like by what they're producing, by their fruits. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you can tell when you meet someone what they're doing with their time within the first week or so. You might hear some about their family. You might even meet their family. You might not, these are all signs and clues. Like I like to say, for my young friends, my teens and 20s friends that I know a lot of, because I'm a mom and because I join these astrology servers that are full of young people learning astrology these days, which is very exciting. But to those young people, I just want to remind them it's important to see, if you meet someone, it's important to see how they are in the community that you're already in, or in their own community and with their own family. It's important to meet their family. If you meet somebody who has children, say, I'm talking about my age now, people, but you might meet someone who's single and they have children, and even that, like, how do they treat their children? Do their children respect them? All of these things add up. All of these things you can see as those are the fruits in their life, what have they done with their life? And you can just see. And a lot of people just get wrapped up in the emotion and the moment, and they're willing to just disregard all of these warning signs that they see. But those are the kind of things that are going to be coming up with this Mars-Pluto thing. I can really see that is exactly what happens. I know a lot of people with Mars in a hard aspect with Pluto, and these are the sort of themes, these total power, domination, control. And that could mean even that you put aside all of your common sense because it feels so powerful. Whoever you've just met or the thing that you just found or something, it feels so strong that you're just convinced this is the right thing for you, and there's no other view for you. You can't see past the forest for the trees. And yeah, speaking of that, with the Mars in conjunct Pluto, Venus is going retrograde. That is some warning signs right there. Venus and Mars have a relationship that takes years and years to complete in ways because of its retrogrades and its pattern that it's making up there. These times when Venus goes retrograde, and if you know anyone that has that degree, or those 20-ish degrees in Leo of anything, or even of Aquarius, its opposite sign, or the square sign, Scorpio and Taurus, if you know anyone with those signs, 28 in the 20s, keep close eye on them and see what's happening in their life. This is when so many people used to come to my astrology group, even after I'd be warning them, Venus is about to go retrograde. If you meet any woman or if you meet a man and you feel like it's love at first sight, step back a bit, try to step back, look at their family, look at their friends, hang around with them for a while, see what they're like before you dedicate your heart and soul and whole being with Mars, Pluto, gusto to this person that you've just met. Because these are the ones in this Venus retrograde that come back when the Venus has done her retrograde with horror stories. I have heard the worst stories, being locked in a room by some control freak person that they didn't know very well, but they swore it was love at first sight. These kind of crazy things that happen to people are sometimes exactly lined up with this Venus retrograde. All right, that was 12 minutes of actual astrology-ish, which I'm impressed that I could do that. And I hope it helps someone. But if you want to join the Discord, you can. I'll leave a link in the description. It's just we boot people who don't participate. Because a lot of us do participate, and we share personal information in there. And the whole lurker thing where people just hang out and never say anything is just creepy. So if you're not going to participate, those people can just stay on my YouTube, I guess. If they enjoy what I'm talking about or whatever, then just stay on my YouTube. And if you feel like participating more and chatting with me and my friends, then join the Discord. But all right, okay, yes, everyone have fun in this last bit of Aries moon with the trine to Venus and Mars. It's a beauty of a time right now for friends and such events, starting things new. It's just a little bit of total control, freak out Mars Pluto in the background.